Sorry that it's been so long. I've just been, not doing anything. See, the thing is, I had a schedule put up, but I couldn't really think of anything at this time being. I think I'd just rather browse Reddit, to be honest, for this episode. Fuck it, I'm doing Fallout 4. I was pretty damn hyped for this game, and to be honest, that wouldn't be a surprise to most people who enjoy the Fallout series. In 2008, we were given a third installment to a series whose previous installment was over 7 years ago, and that wasn't even in the main series. The last game in the main series was made in 1998, so that would have been 10 years ago. When I first launched the game, the intro genuinely sent a chill down my spine. Like Bethesda or not, they know how to pull an emotional reaction from you purely by the menu screen alone. We had Skyrim pull the same shit on us 3 years ago. Yeah, you remember that? With its purely dark, minimalist menu and that kick-ass theme song? Yeah, well, Fallout 4 achieves the same thing, and it genuinely had me looking like this. Okay, maybe exaggerated a bit, but at least the first two reactions were pretty much all I held through the title screen. It was a full minute before I finally hit the any button and started the game up. So what do I think about the game? Well, there's a lot to like, and there's also a fair bit to dislike as well. But since I'm a positive guy, I figure I'll focus on what I like about the game first. Sound fair? Cool, let's begin. Firstly, the gunplay. To the 1% of you who haven't played Fallout 3 or New Vegas, the actual first-person shooter mechanics were pretty dog-arse, so a lot of the time you had to use the VATS aiming system, which stopped the game and allowed you to pick off a target's testicles. Juicy. In Fallout 4, however, I really had to use VATS. The gunplay is so much better, and that it actually feels good to go around and shoot things. Going kamikaze with a fast-firing silenced pistol was great, and with the sprint function you can totally pretend you're a commando in the wasteland. Secondly, the graphics. I'll admit this is also kind of a negative because compared to other current generation games, the graphics in this game are kinda really dated. It's obvious that the graphics haven't really moved on from Skyrim, but when you look at the lighting effects, they're absolutely gorgeous, and it really does make you forget that a lot of the textures are mediocre at best. The base building slash armor crafting slash weapon crafting system is also pretty awesome. Upgrading shit was a feature in New Vegas, which I haven't fully explored, so any New Vegas fans feel free to criticize this next part. But I quite like the crafting system in Fallout 4. Being able to upgrade each weapon to increase its damage or fire rate or help with recoil is pretty neat, as well as some upgrades that completely transform one weapon into another, usually by changing the ammo type or increasing the damage massively in favor of reducing the fire rate. I can't say I'm a fan of the trade-offs that come with upgrading, but I guess it makes sense. Finally, the music. Some of the ambient music for the Wasteland is absolutely fantastic, and I can really see myself looking it up and listening to it on YouTube when I start doing assignments for uni. It kind of reminds me of the uplifting musical pieces from Skyrim, but it's not actually written by the same composer. But if you want to listen to the music, you should totally check it out. Now for the not so great. The dialogue system has been dumbed down all to hell. There's only 4 possible options with each response, and those options are always the same 4 things. Friendly, neutral, twat, and friendly with a question to ask. There's no dialogue tree anymore to speak of. No matter what option you pick, you'll always progress to the next part of the dialogue, unless you ask the question, in which case sometimes it'll stay on the same piece of dialogue until you pick one of the other 3, which is just dumb. The perk tree. This is both a positive and a negative, much like the graphics, but this is more towards the negative side because it also amplifies the idea that the game is dumbed down. Originally, in the previous games, you had the stat building, but in Fallout 4 it completely abandons that now. In previous iterations, you had skills for various different things like small guns, big guns, lockpicking, hacking, medicine, etc., which you can add up every time you level up, so you can keep adding to the skills and eventually make them better. But now, whenever you level up, you just have a bunch of perks that you can choose from. You have a massive amount of perks you can choose from, and they're restricted depending on what your special stats are. But in the previous games, you couldn't increase your special stats unless you managed to find any of the bobbleheads. In this game, you can add to your special skills up to 10 each, which is kind of ruins the spirit of having a character that stays the same but gets better in skills, minor skills rather than major skills like your special attributes. I do like this perk ability because each one grants interesting ability, but Fallout 3 did the same thing as well each time you leveled up, albeit with a little less choice. So overall, the entire game seems kind of dumbed down. Skyrim had the same problem with its controller-like interface and the removal of several core skills, and it seems that Bethesda have been continuing this tradition with Fallout 4. It's still a great game. It's not quite as good as Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. I've still put 45 hours into it though, and I really enjoyed that time I've spent. Finally, I'll leave you with the classic saying of, it's a Bethesda game.
I've got that locket back for you.
You serious? That's great news.
I took care of the raiders that were harassing that settlement you sent me to. The people there have decided to join our cause.
That's great news. One day, we'll be strong enough to drive that scum out of the Commonwealth for good.